Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We had a little technical trouble earlier, but hopefully this one is going to do the trick. We're keeping our peace through nature this morning, even with technical trouble. I have a very special guest here today, and we are at her lovely ranch, First Nature Ranch. She is the president and executive director of not only the ranch, but First Nature Foundation. She is a leadership coaching giant. She's an author. And this really impressed me. She was been quoted in Time Magazine and the Chicago Tribune. So as a journalist myself, I realized they don't just quote people willy-nilly. So please welcome with me today, Dr. Kerul Kassel.
Thank you so much for honoring me to be a guest on your podcast.
Well, it is an honor to have you here. And she's also one of my neighbors, so that makes it extra special. We are going to be talking today about how we can find calm in this world of chaos. That's one of the things we're going to be talking about. And it all started a few weeks ago. We have a neighborhood forum, and we're allowed to go on and post and share with the neighbors. And all of a sudden one night, someone posted something that was kind of politically charged, and it got a little bit ugly. And there was some name calling, some blocking, and it was kind of upsetting. So I just closed my computer and I went for a walk, and I ran smack dab into a bucket load of nature. Squirrels, an alligator, a raccoon family. It was just really a lot of fun. And by the time I got home, Kerul, I realized I was a different person than the one who had closed that keyboard a half an hour earlier. And I want to ask you, what effect does nature have on our nervous system and on our body and on our mind?
Sure. Nature can, if you allow it, let us reconnect with God, with our purpose, with a sense of calm, and with our potential, so that we can think better about things without being cluttered in our mind with things that cause us to contract our expanded knowledge of what our options are. It allows us to calm our nervous system, our mental awareness, our emotional depth, and our physical health.
And you said something earlier. You said that connecting with nature can even help us make better decisions in life. And boy, if we ever needed to make better decisions, it's today.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true, because it, as I mentioned, it allows us to kind of let go of all of the clutter and have a calmer approach to any problem or question or issue that's facing us. What decision is best to make? Once we calm our nervous system, a lot of the monkey mind that's going around in our brain relaxes, and then we can have a more considered approach to things.
Oh, a considered approach to things. I love that. You know, I was thinking, Kerul, about when God created the heavens, where he created the sun, the moon, the stars, the sea, and then all the animals. He created nature. And then after he created that, he set man down in the middle of it, and it said, enjoy. So I think that was a pretty purposeful plan on God's part, that we are to connect with nature. You know, I was thinking that if people who get in road rage, instead of pulling up to a red light and screaming at the person that they think cut them off, if they would just look out the window and see a bird flying by or watch the clouds move for a minute, maybe that road rage would go away.
Yeah, at least it would calm it, for sure.
You are big on teaching leadership skills through nature. Explain that.
Sure. So our vision of leadership here is that self-leadership comes first. And what I mean by self-leadership is, how do I deal with doubt, self-doubt, conflict, tension, uncertainty, so that I'm not getting in my own way and everybody else's way? And when we sit or watch or walk through nature, that allows us to be more self-aware. And by being more self-aware, we can be better leaders for ourselves. We can also be better leaders for others.
Wow. That is very profound, because it's one thing, we talked about this before the broadcast, there seems to be such a lack of self-awareness today. I was recently going to a theme type park, and as I was pulling in, trying to get in the parking space, there was a man just walking so nonchalantly, just looking at his phone and not paying a bit of attention to anything. And I couldn't even get to where they were telling me to go because he was in the way. And as I looked at him, I must have had a look on my face like, do you have a sense of self awareness? And the guy that was with him looked at me and started like yelling at me because I was not going to wait for his non self aware friend. And I see this every day. What is something specific that we can implement today to learn to be more self aware of our actions, our words, our emotions?
So, whether it's a breathing exercise to help us reconnect with the sensations in our bodies, whether it's watching the clouds pass by and connecting them with our thoughts and just watching them pass by rather than getting caught in them, so that we're more the observer of our thoughts than the slave to our thoughts.
Oh my goodness. I think you need to say that again. More an observer of our thoughts rather than a slave. Because when we're a slave to every thought that comes into our mind and we act on them, that can have some pretty dire consequences.
Yeah. We're not really, when we're in that state, we're not really aware of all of our choices. We're not really aware of what surrounds us. And one of the exercises we do with our participants in our programs here is to help them with different exercises, whether it's a body scan exercise, whether it's sitting in an Adirondack chair and observing the breeze in the trees, the breeze on their skin, the feeling of that, the smells surrounding them, or the smells from our herb garden. We give them different herbs to smell, or just the sounds of nature, the birds and the insects, the breeze. Those kinds of awarenesses help us be more aware of what's going on inside us as well. And when we are more aware of that, we're more at choice because we're not just reacting,
Wow.
we can respond.
That is brilliant. I belong to the gym in town, and one day after a Zumba class, the instructor had us all sit in chairs, and she dimmed the lights and put on some very relaxing music. And then she came around and told us to cup our hands in front of us, and she sprayed them with lavender oil. And she didn't tell us what to do with it. But instinctively, I just took mine, put it up to my face, and I just inhaled that lavender oil. And I'm not kidding. I felt like every bit of stress just leave my body. And that is nature. That just connecting and smelling and looking. I remember I was reading a book one time. It said the next time you pull up to a red light, just sit there for a minute and just be aware of the sounds. Listen to your air conditioner blowing through the vent. You know, what, like you said, watch the clouds go by. We miss so much of these kind of things because we're just always hurrying through life. How can we slow down and really what something tangible we could do in the next 5 minutes, that's something tangible that we can learn to start practicing and slowing down and observing?
There are so many opportunities to do that, whether it is to download a meditation app on your phone and do a little meditation, or whether it's to look out the window and watch the clouds pass by, or whether it is to just do a breathing exercise where you're scanning your body as you're breathing from the top to the bottom to see what's going on there.
Wow.
Whether it is just to take a walk outside for 5 minutes, or it's to set your timer on your phone to do any of those at a particular time of day each day so that you can reconnect on a regular basis.
You know what? It's funny that you said about the meditation because I every morning I spend devotional time, you know, with God, and you read a scripture over and over and over and over. But there was one scripture this week that really popped to me, and I meditate on it. And I know some people are going to say, "Oh, you shouldn't meditate." Just hold your pants on for a second. I sat there and I read it again and again and again. And I thought about what I was reading. And I thought, how can this apply to my life? And the scripture was about holding fast to your confession of faith. In other words, when something let's say you have your faith exercise for something and contrary winds blow, it said, hold fast to that. Don't let the wind blow it away. And you have to think about these things. You have to meditate. You have to regurgitate. You have to chew on these things so they don't just slip away. Because there's always something vying for our affection. And this brings me to the next thing I want to talk about. I saw on your website that you say you give reverence to a sentient life. Explain to us what a sentient life is.
Sure. Sentient life is all around us all the time. Sentient life just means life that has awareness. And so animals have awareness, they have some knowledge, they have feelings, they have sensations, they have awareness. And so do other living things like trees and grass and insects and pretty much all the life around us. Even there's a way that the wind and the clouds are part of that. And so we're often, just back to awareness, unaware of all of this sentient life around us that can provide us with lessons and wisdom and peace.
Yeah.
And so during our programs, what we're doing is creating some awareness of that sentient life that surrounds us, so that we can find the profound effect that it has on us, and then practice that on a regular basis, so that we can be more at peace, so that we can have better relationships, so that we can be more effective in our work, in our volunteering, in our faith.
So another thing I'm hearing you say is going back to our senses again, that we're not a slave to them, but we should use our senses to smell, to see, to touch, to observe. I had a lovely opportunity this morning to give your horses some treats. And I could feel their soft little horse lips on my hand as they gently took the treats away from me. That was really calming to me. You know, I see people sometimes with like, what are they called? Service dogs. And I'll see the dog like kind of rub up against their leg or get real close to them. And I think, I bet that's really comforting.
Reassuring.
And just for a few minutes this morning, it was so nice just to feel the touch of these gentle giants, which we're going to see in a minute. And I wonder just how many times during the day we just take moments to touch and smell and feel and hear and look, rather than running from an office cubicle to a fast food drive-through, you know, that we really, this is purposeful living. If we want peace, we have to be purposeful about it.
Yeah. I think it's also about having an open heart to all that's out there, and not just having this very kind of self-guided monkey mind that we're a slave to. So having that open heart to allow ourselves to experience more than just this, so that we can be more, not just aware, but also take in more and allow it to impact us in a profound way. And that means with, again, better decision making, better relationships, more effective at work, more our relationships, whether it's at work or volunteering or at home and with ourselves.
You know, I can hear screaming right now almost saying, but I've got to do this and you don't understand, and I've got 5 kids and I've got to work 2 jobs. I do understand, but I also am hearing from you that we would be better at all those things and more peaceful and maybe more appreciative if we also did some self-care.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to see from hearing you talk that self-care isn't necessarily about getting your nails done or new highlights in your hair. It also includes being aware of the beauty around us, and not just being aware, but taking part in it.
Sure. And being grateful for it.
Yeah, being grateful, being grateful. Wow. Any parting thoughts for us?
Well, we're having some events coming up that you might be interested in.
Yes, very much.
One of them is a mother-daughter retreat. Our first event sold out in 3 days, which is coming up on March 2nd, but we are scheduling another one for May 3rd, where mother-daughter pairs can come, and we have a range of activities that include the horses, include time in nature. It's device-free. It is about mental health. It is about finding some resilience and peace, and reconnecting with your daughter if you're a mom, and with your mom if you're a daughter. We also have a fundraiser coming up on March 29th. It's a wine tasting fundraiser. So we'll probably have charcuterie or some other treats to pair with the wines. And it'll be right here at the ranch in the barn that's behind us. And it's an evening event. So that's on our website, which is firstnaturefoundation.org. And we also offer serenity sessions here, where if you just want to spend a supervised, peaceful, calm hour with a horse, you can feed the horse treats, you can groom the horse, you can just hang out with the horse in the pasture or the arena or its stall, whatever you like. For an hour, it's relatively inexpensive, and it's a way of having some detox time.
I think we could all use some detox time. And this is in Central Florida. So if you live here or you're coming for a visit, you might want to add this to your list of things to do. And right now, we're going to tempt you even further by taking a look at a couple of the beauties. Oh, did they go out to the pasture?
Yes, but they're right over here.
Okay, so we're going to just take the filming with us. We're going to go over and check out these beautiful horses.
Right through there.
Oh, here they are. Here comes Tuck. As you can see, there's no stress here.
At the moment.
They're pretty chill. So I'll let you tell us about these guys.
Sure.
It's peaceful just watching them.
I have a friend who finds the sound of horses grazing, the ripping and chewing, the ripping of the grass and the chewing, to be one of the most calming sounds that she knows.
Wow.
And just the sound of the breeze and the calmness of the horses grazing. Horses can get upset or activated or worried, but then they go right back to grazing.
Wow.
So they're really great models for us to understand that we have moments of conflict. We have moments